So Andy, we had quite an eventful match against Ealing last Saturday. It felt eventful watching anyway. Can you just sum up how the day went? And I know we've picked up an unfortunate injury to Will as well.
Yeah, well, another heavy defeat on paper, but as a coaching team, well, one of the things we have to do is to pick up on any of the positives that happened during the game. I said to somebody earlier today, it's when you're winning all the time, it's easy to play in that team. There are still things you need to cover from a coaching point of view, but it's easier to coach than when you're losing all the time and having to pick players up both mentally and physically. So we were keen to pick up on some of the positives. We competed pretty well for 30 minutes in the first half, and then the same old problems for the last 10 minutes, and before we know it, we've gone from 30 to 50. But then the big positive in the second half was that we scored in that first 20 minutes, and they didn't concede a score for 15-20 minutes. So for half of that second half, we were actually leading the game, if you just want to look at it as a 0-0 start. And then, of course, they started to get into their stride again, scored a few tries. I think some of the refereeing decisions upset the boys, and we started to see a little bit of trying to think the nicest way, but they were irritated with that situation, shall I say, and they put a little bit more into the game. And it'd be nice if we can see that sort of attitude coming out at the beginning rather than sort of halfway through the second half. And then we were pressing towards the end to score, and again our impatience got the better of us, and we spoke to the guys after the game and said, if you're going to do that, we just got to keep going, because everybody was in that ruck, and then to give it to Oscar to try and do something all on his own was never going to happen, and hey presto, they break out and score. But yeah, Will Clark unfortunately broke his elbow in the game, and had an operation yesterday to pin the bit of bone that came off back in place. I spoke to him a couple of times before that, and Will, being Will, is hopeful and keen that he's going to be obviously out of hospital and wants to come down and watch the game on Saturday. So that's sort of all part of the team spirit that we've now got, in that if they can't play, they still want to be there watching. So hopefully he'll be able to travel with us. The rest of them got away with it. Andy Gale split his eye. I've had a text from him and he's fit to play. Johan got split in his head, and unfortunately for us, Johan now leaves us and goes to South Africa to go to university. And it was a shame that he couldn't finish his break off and score the try, which he probably A, deserves, and certainly B, wanted. I'm sure would have had a huge cheer from everybody if he had managed to scamper over, but it wasn't to be. But we'll look forward to sort of November time when he's on his summer break, although we're in the middle of winter, they'll be in summer. And he's vowed that he'll come back and play some rugby for us. So we wish him well, but look forward to maybe when he gets back. So yes, another disappointing scoreline, but I think lots of positives for us to look forward to as well.
Yeah, definitely, and get well soon, Will. So how have we regrouped this week then? We've got Taunton on Saturday. What's been happening?
Well, in some respects, this week and the last 2 weeks has been about sort of damage limitation physically as much as anything. And we're not going into the games trying to, keep the score down. We're going into the games with the same attitude that we've got. We want to score 4 tries, and we do want to keep the score down. And at some point, we want to win as well. So Tuesday, it was a question of just counting the walking wounded. And at one point, it did look like we weren't going to have very many out training. And so we took a decision to do another session, primarily indoors. And this is actually becoming quite important to us in these last few weeks, where we can go over things that we thought that players understood but don't, obviously. Things that we need to work on from the previous week. And then go out and actually put something into practice. So we perhaps spent a little bit too long in there on Tuesday, but I think overall it was useful. And then tonight, obviously, everybody reporting hopefully fit and raring to go. But we'll just have to wait and see. There's a couple that are struggling a bit, but say hopefully okay for Saturday.
Okay, do you want to tell us who you're
I think I'm just going to have to do a squad, although people probably get the feel for Tom Fiddler's fine. Ali Widdop and Luke Sawyer, who played a whole half. He had a really bad back last week. We were only going to use him in an emergency, and then Nathan hurt his shoulder, and so Luke had to play a whole half, and he did really, really well. Andy Cannock and Ben West. Hopefully Jack Taggart will be up tonight and raring to go. Paul Archer, Joe Carver, Greg Price is struggling a bit with a dead leg. We'll have to see how he goes tonight. Andy Gale, looks like we might have to put Oscar at 10 on a permanent basis. He thanks everybody for cheering as he fell over before he left. As he got to the line, he said that's all he could remember as he hit the ground was everybody cheering, and yet he wasn't going to score. But thankfully we did. Joe Gren and James Monger on the wing, and Steve Datchram. Hopefully Martin's fit. Martin, we've sort of kept him out the firing line a bit last week, and he spoke to me on Tuesday and said he was keen to play this week. Dan Thorne may well fill in at 15. And then sort of replacement, well, say squad we haven't decided yet. Matt Holyland, Tom Sanders, who limped off with a bad knee but is hopefully recovered. Ollie Spansvik, and we've got another couple of guys who we're trying to register at quick notice, but I don't think it's going to happen. We're supposed to have got everything into place by sort of lunchtime today, and there's just one piece that we're waiting for. And so I don't think we're going to get that. So it might be next week that those two guys, one of them's a prop and the other guy's a centre. But we just need to make sure that we've got everything in place before we register them. Hate to lose 2 points or 4 points for fielding an unregistered player. It's the least we could do with.
Yeah.
So we might be right on the wire with players this week, and we'll just have to deal with it as we see.
Okay, great. So the Colts won their round 4 of the National Colts Cup match down at Cleve on Sunday, and that was a great performance, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I went down, you went down, and a good number of others went down. It was good to see so many people watching them, and I've seen them play a couple of times this season as well. But I felt that Sunday was a pretty complete game for those that know about it. I mean, attacking wise, they looked threatening every time they got the ball in their hands. And there was a passage of play where they had to defend quite resolutely and did so. And some of the tries were top draw. I mean, it was really, really good to watch. I think if somebody went along to watch a game of rugby, not particularly bothered about who was playing, but just wanted to be entertained, then I think they'd have had a fairly entertaining Sunday afternoon. So it was good to see Ben and Ollie and James Monger being involved, having played a little bit on the Saturday. I really was glad that I managed that in a way that allowed them to go and do that. It's important that they are involved in that. It'll do a world of good for Ben's confidence to be involved in a winning side. But it was a good performance, and they're due to play Cirencester in the next round, and hopefully they'll go well in that.
Yeah, we wish them all the best. Thanks very much, Andy.